Bowl wide receiver Zay Flowers reached an agreement today with the Ravens on a 4-year, $140 million extension. That includes, by the way, $108 million guaranteed per his agency. Okay, so we talked earlier about maybe excuses for Lamar Jackson. His wide receivers, they're locked up. They got a new head coach in place. Zero excuses now for Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team. What do you think about this Zay Flowers extension?
Only got a minute.
Love the extension from Zay Flowers. Pro Bowl in his last 2 years. He's gotten better every single year. A dynamic player with the ball in his hands. He's a weapon. He's the best weapon that Lamar has in that offense.
Yeah, when they played against Pittsburgh last year in their final game, him and Zay Flowers, that connection, they kept scoring to get them over the hump. They just missed the kick. But now he's got his guy all season that can be his go-to when he need him.
Missed the kick. What about the fumble, end zone? Didn't that happen?
That was like, what, two?
I'm just asking. I mean, that was the last time they had a chance at Super Bowl.
Young rookie out there.
Let me say this. He deserves his bag.
No doubt.
The brother can play.
Yeah.
He's a primary weapon for Lamar Jackson. He's arguably the best offensive weapon they have outside. Well, I shouldn't say that because outside of Lamar and Derrick Henry, King Henry. But he deserves it. He deserves his money. Yeah. It's a more than reasonable contract. Ain't nobody, but you also got some stuff to achieve too.
Mm-hmm.
You got some stuff to achieve too. Because just like Lamar ain't been in the Super Bowl, damn it, you haven't either. And Zay Flowers, you good enough to do it.
Yep. Now we got the bag. There are no more excuses for the Baltimore Ravens this year. It is time to show up. All right, thanks everyone for hanging out. Hey, Gerald, it's good to have you here on First Take with us.
Thank you for having me.
It was a good 2 hours, right?
You did good, brother.
We laughed.
You did good, my man.
Laughed.
You did good.
Chatted. We'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place.
$1, Zay Flowers. Congratulations. $108 million guaranteed. Lamar Jackson obviously is known for being an electrifying athlete. They said maybe this guy shouldn't be a quarterback when he was coming out of college. What happened? Well, he turned into one of the greatest and most prolific passers in the history of the NFL right in front of our eyes. The highest QBR. Who's a weapon that he utilizes a lot? This guy, Zay Flowers. Seemingly always open, seemingly always getting yak. And I guess in the Baltimore Ravens building, he's a guy that they do not want to go absolutely anywhere. Jesse Minter comes in, new head coach, incredible defensive mind. Lamar Jackson's there all offseason. It feels like a breath of fresh air potentially. Now they're spending this money on Zay Flowers. Congrats to him. Congrats to his family. And congrats to the Ravens. Seems like they know what they want, and they got it for sure. Yeah, Lamar's got to be pumped.
Absolutely. It's good business. He's been their top target since basically coming into the league out of Boston College. Before that, another South Florida, Broward County legend. Love this guy, man. Look, route runner, he's a great route runner. He's explosive, and like I said, he's going to be the main target in their passing game. You got a new offensive coordinator with Declan Doyle coming over. So now knowing you're going to have your top weapon, obviously going into camps, going into seasons, a lot of times number one wide receivers have issues with their money. He got his money. He got a lot of money. The number will probably surprise maybe some casuals out there. If you pay attention to the Ravens, you pay attention to the AFC North, you know this guy's a dynamic playmaker. And when you're paying a guy at this point in their career, it's not about what they've done. It's about what you expect them to do in the future. So I think it's a good move by the Baltimore Ravens.
And we appreciate the fact that we've heard that Zay is going to give some money to Butter and to Stoppy.
Sure.
And going to go get some crab cakes down there from Jimmy's, famous, which we respect and appreciate. But that Baltimore Ravens community, obviously the turnover of John Harbaugh leaving, Likely's gone. Ricard's gone.
Yeah.
Jordan Stott, the punter's gone. Mm-hmm. You know, whole new page happening. Still have Lamar. Still have great pieces. I think the Ravens fans are going to be excited about this particular move. And I think if I'm Zay Flowers, I know that now the expectation is we got to go win this all. You don't get paid this amount of money without being an outright superstar, number one prediction. He has been. But can their team get over the hump and really put him into the primetime conversation? I think that's what we're waiting on.
Yeah, the Ravens have been looking for a top wide receiver for a long time, and I think they finally got him with Zay. Obviously, and it says a lot what the organization thinks about you. He was a first rounder, so they had him for 5 years if they wanted. They're paying him after year 3, so they're paying him early, kind of what the Lions were doing with their guys for a long time, and teams have now started paying after year 3 if you could tell you really like this guy in an organization. But no, Zay's great. He's been great with Lamar. He's definitely someone in the AFC North that's a huge problem for all those teams.
Yeah, getting paid after your third year.
Yeah.
You know, obviously is a big commitment, but now they can salary cap gymnastics with this deal.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You know, if you get one of your pillar guys that you know are going to be your pillar guys, you pay them early, you give them some ridiculous contract. Not that this is ridiculous, because in 3 years, 4 years from now, he's probably going to be underpaid, which is what they're kind of doing right now. We are paying you ahead of schedule because we know in like 2 years from now, when you would originally be up, the market's going to be outrageous. So there's kind of a good business together, but also they'll be able to move his money around whenever they have to potentially add more players, to add to the depth of the roster. roster and maybe get the Ravens to the Super Bowl.
Maybe.
Everybody wonders, can Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl? He knows that. And I appreciate the fact that Zay Flowers is going to be right alongside of him whenever they do it. I like this sign. He's not the only one that just got paid.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Congrats to him. You know, going into camp, there was a couple running backs we had our eyes on. Like, what's going on up there with Gibbs and what's going on down there with Bijan? Bijan, big Nirvana fan, we found out. Well, it turns out they were kind of just waiting on each other, it seemed like. Now, there might have been a couple training camp conversations taking place around the body and what's available, what's not available. Well, Bijan becomes the first guy to get paid. Congratulations to Bijan Robinson. $75 million up to deal, $51 million guaranteed, including $37 million as soon as his pen hits that paper. Now, that tax is going to be crazy, but it's nice to see that money jump into your account immediately. Good for Bijan, good negotiation. And obviously, this is also something they can spread out over the length of the contract so they can do some salary cap gymnastics. Now, all eyes are on Gibbs. Is he going to get more money? Of course, that's why he's waiting it out. Joining us now, who gives a little bit more information on only this contract, future contracts, and what just happened in Baltimore. Ladies and gentlemen, senior NFL insider for ESPN, Adam Schefter. Shefty.
Remember what's going on?
Shefty, good to see you. Sorry about all the things Aaron said about you yesterday. I think that was something that you should not have taken personally. It feels like that was kind of everybody out there, and I just want to let you know we love you around here, Shefty. We what I say? I'm not going to speak for him.
Next time you see him, tell him to lose my number.
Well said.
Okay.
Wow.
It's already gone.
Classic.
You need to know that thing's already
Well
gone,
said,
but I do
Jeffy.
respect and appreciate that. Okay, let's talk about Bijan Robinson. He gets paid. There was a little bit of a battle between who's going to get paid first. It felt like between he and Gibbs. Bijan goes first. Massive number. Obviously, he's earned it. His story in Atlanta has been one where everybody was wondering why he wasn't getting the ball, and then he starts getting the ball, and everybody talks about an MVP type situation. Was this inevitable? Did it take longer than you thought? And what does this mean for Gibbs?
I always thought that this would be the approximate timeline, and I think that there was definitely a waiting game going on between Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs, and I always felt like Robinson would go first because the numbers would be higher, and then it would be up to the Lions to try to close that gap, bridge the gap between the two sides, and make the two offers as close as possible. So I think Gibbs, by waiting, may get some more money, and if they use this deal as a roadmap, then I would think that Gibbs deal shouldn't take very long. But what I find interesting is it wasn't just Gibbs who was waiting, it was Jonathan Taylor, but they were approaching it differently. Gibbs was holding in Detroit, and Jonathan Taylor was going through practice. But I do think that Bijan's deal is going to help trigger potentially two new deals at the running back position, with Jahmyr Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor both getting done here.
Has Gibbs been paid before?
No, not
Okay,
at
yeah,
all.
a little different situation than Jonathan Taylor. Okay, so let's make sure we remember that. And you saying Jonathan Taylor's practicing, we are very thankful for that, Jonathan. We appreciate the fact that he's out there, obviously, as we're continuing to try to build a team that just wins the AFC South for the first time in 12 years. Now, on that note, last time he was wearing a hoodie and sunglasses with a first-year head coach in the first time with a rookie quarterback that was just drafted, basically setting the tone, I'm best player on the team. You can act like an asshole. And then guess what? We paid him. I was super pissed, hated everything about it, set the tone, I think, for this entire era with Anthony Richardson in a negative fashion, especially with Shane Steichen. But on that note, he got his money, and he played really good football.
MVP front runner for
He almost won an MVP.
Worth
So
every dollar.
I appreciate him doing that, getting that deal done, sticking around in Indianapolis. But I appreciate him getting back to practice. I'd assume the Gibbs conversation in Detroit might be similar to what you guys didn't make playoffs last year. We had a number 4 overall pick, and Jonathan Taylor was doing it. It's like, hey, bud. He gets paid. He almost wins the MVP. It definitely worked for him. It's worked for others in the past. We assume Gibbs will end up getting paid even if it gets loud. But hopefully this all happens sooner than later, so it's a little bit more kumbaya than what the Jonathan Taylor situation was here in Indianapolis.
Well, I thought that Gibbs was the natural deal to follow, and I thought 24 to 48 hours. And by the way, that may happen here. But there's a chance that the Lions go the opposite way and say, hey, our offer is our offer, and Gibbs doesn't take it. I think there's a real critical point here for the Lions and Gibbs that if they get it done in the next 24, 40 hours, great. If not, it could linger for a little bit. And somebody I was talking to that was familiar with both deals, they thought, and I was surprised by this, they thought Taylor would get done before Gibbs. And I was like, that thought never even occurred to me.
Let me tell you why. Can I tell you why? Because he almost won the MVP last year. And also, he's practicing, and ownership loves him. Fans are very appreciative of him. I think we're at a much different time now than we were whenever he was sunglasses and hoodie on the practice field, being quite a distraction as our best players. We're trying to build a brand new culture. That was whenever they were saying, the running backs were getting shorted and nobody's paying. They were going to do like a league-wide lockout.
Yeah.
Saquon, Jonathan Taylor, I think Christian was maybe a part of that. Nick Chubb was part of that. They were all going to do it. Jonathan Taylor was the only one that was like, we're not doing shit. I think Saquon agreed to like a deal with $2 million more bucks or something.
Yep.
This was when he was the Giants before he even went. So Jonathan Taylor at that point, I think, was taking a stand not only for himself, but also for all running backs. He was the only one that actually stuck with it all. He ended up getting paid. And then Hembo sends us over. By average per year, the top of the running back market has increased by 39% since 2023. It only increased by 11% in the previous 12 years. Obviously, salary cap has been going up incredibly, but that position, I think, has only become more valuable. And I'd like to point at Saquon Barkley for being the reason why. Saquon Barkley wins a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles in a run-heavy type offense.